He'll conquer more land than Alexander the Great, Napoleon, and Hitler combined. He'll defeat armies 10 times larger than his own without breaking a sweat. History calls him a brutal warlord, a savage conqueror, a monster. 1206 AD, a man stands on a mountain in Mongolia, raising his arms to the sky. He's just been declared Khan of all Mongols, but he doesn't celebrate, he doesn't boast. He falls to his knees and prays. Within 50 years, his empire will stretch from Korea to Hungary. He'll conquer more land than Alexander the Great, Napoleon, and Hitler combined. He'll defeat armies 10 times larger than his own without breaking a sweat. History calls him a brutal warlord, a savage conqueror, a monster. But what if I told you that Genghis Khan's real weapon wasn't his cavalry or his tactics? What if the secret to building the largest land empire in human history was something nobody talks about? Spiritual laws, ancient beliefs, a connection to something greater that made him and his warriors absolutely unstoppable. Today, I'm going to show you the 3 spiritual principles that Genghis Khan used to conquer the world. And more importantly, how these same principles can make you unstoppable in your own life. Because here's the truth. Genghis Khan wasn't born powerful. He was born with nothing, abandoned, betrayed, left to die in the wilderness. But he discovered something that changed everything. And once you understand what it was, you'll never see success the same way again. Let's start with the moment everything changed for him. His birth name was Temujin, born in 1162 to a minor tribal chief. When he was 9 years old, his father was poisoned by enemies. His tribe abandoned his family in the wilderness to die. No food, no protection, no future. Most people would have given up. But Temujin's mother taught him something that would change history. She told him about Tengri, the eternal blue sky. In Mongolian shamanism, Tengri wasn't just a god. Tengri was the cosmic order, the divine will that governed everything. And she told young Temujin something powerful. If Tengri wills it, nothing can stop you. If Tengri doesn't will it, nothing can save you. This wasn't motivational speaking. This was spiritual law, and Temujin took it literally. Years later, after surviving betrayal, slavery, and countless attempts on his life, Temujin stood on that mountain and declared himself Genghis Khan, universal ruler, and he made a proclamation that would define his entire empire. I am the punishment of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you. Everyone thinks this was arrogance. It wasn't. It was absolute spiritual conviction. Genghis Khan genuinely believed he was chosen by Tengri to unite the world. This wasn't ego. This was divine purpose. And that belief changed everything. Here's why this matters. When you believe you're acting on behalf of a higher purpose, fear disappears, doubt disappears, the opinions of others become irrelevant. Genghis Khan faced armies of 100,000 men with forces of 20,000. His generals would ask, "How can we win?" And he'd respond, "Tengri has already decided. We are simply the instrument." This spiritual conviction did something psychological that modern science is only now understanding. When you operate from a place of divine purpose, your brain stops calculating odds. It stops negotiating with fear. It enters a state of absolute certainty. A Harvard study on peak performance found that individuals who connect their goals to a transcendent purpose show 300% more persistence in the face of obstacles than those motivated by personal gain alone. Genghis Khan didn't fight for wealth or glory. He fought because he believed the eternal blue sky had commanded him to bring order to chaos. And that belief made him unstoppable. But divine purpose alone wasn't enough. He needed his warriors to share that conviction. That's where the second spiritual law came in. Before Genghis Khan, Mongolia was a nightmare. Dozens of tribes constantly at war. Betrayal was common. Loyalty meant nothing. Your own brother might kill you for a horse. Genghis Khan did something revolutionary. He destroyed the tribal system completely, and he replaced it with something spiritual. He declared that all Mongols were one people under Tengri. Your tribe didn't matter. Your family name didn't matter. Your status at birth didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was your loyalty to the divine mission. This was shamanic unity, the belief that all warriors were connected through a shared spiritual purpose. They weren't fighting for Genghis Khan. They were fighting alongside him for Tengri. He created laws that enforced this unity. If one soldier in a unit of 10 fled in battle, all 10 were executed, not as punishment, but as spiritual consequence. You were responsible for your brothers because you were spiritually connected to them. This created something unprecedented in military history. An army where every single soldier would die before retreating, not because they were suicidal, because abandoning your brothers meant abandoning your spiritual purpose. Western armies fought for kings or gold. They'd retreat when things got difficult. They'd surrender when outnumbered. Mongol warriors fought for something greater than themselves, and that made them absolutely terrifying. There's a famous story about a Mongol unit of 200 men surrounded by 5,000 Chinese soldiers. The Chinese general offered them terms of surrender. The Mongol commander responded, "Tengri does not surrender." All 200 Mongols died, but they held the position long enough for the main army to arrive. The Chinese lost 12,000 men in the battle that followed. This is the power of spiritual unity. When everyone believes they're part of something greater, individual survival becomes less important than collective purpose. Modern military psychologists call this unit cohesion, but Genghis Khan understood it 800 years ago as a spiritual principle. He didn't just build an army, he built a brotherhood, a spiritual collective where every warrior knew their role in the divine plan. But even divine purpose and spiritual unity weren't enough to conquer the world. There was a third law, and this one is the most powerful of all. Here's what most people don't understand about Genghis Khan's army. They weren't savage barbarians. They were the most disciplined military force the world had ever seen. Every Mongol warrior could ride for 3 days straight without stopping. They could shoot arrows accurately at full gallop. They could survive on a handful of dried meat and milk for weeks. This wasn't natural talent. This was spiritual discipline. Genghis Khan created a training system based on shamanic principles. Warriors weren't just learning combat techniques. They were learning to transcend their physical limitations through spiritual practice. Before every campaign, his army would perform a ritual. They'd stand in formation at dawn, facing the rising sun. They'd pray to Tengri, and then they'd repeat a single phrase, "I am already dead." This wasn't pessimism, this was liberation. In shamanic tradition, death isn't the end, it's a transition. When you accept that you're already dead, fear loses its power. Pain becomes irrelevant. Suffering becomes temporary. A Mongol warrior who believed he was already dead couldn't be intimidated by threats, couldn't be broken by torture, couldn't be stopped by exhaustion. This spiritual discipline created something terrifying. Warriors who felt no fear. There's a recorded account from a Persian historian who witnessed a Mongol execution. A captured Mongol warrior was told he'd be burned alive unless he revealed military secrets. The warrior laughed and said, "My body is temporary. Tengri is eternal. Do what you must." They burned him. He never screamed, never begged, just recited prayers until he died. This kind of discipline can't be created through punishment or rewards. It can only be created through spiritual conviction. Genghis Khan understood that the human body has limits, but the human spirit, connected to something greater, has none. Modern special forces try to replicate this. Navy SEALs, SS, Spetsnaz. They push soldiers beyond their physical limits to access something deeper. But they're rediscovering what Genghis Khan knew 800 years ago. When you connect your discipline to a spiritual purpose, you transcend normal human limitations. Pain becomes background noise. Exhaustion becomes irrelevant. Fear disappears. A Stanford neuroscientist who studied extreme performers found that individuals in transcendent states show reduced activity in the brain regions associated with pain and fear. They're not ignoring these sensations. Their brains literally stop processing them as threats. Genghis Khan created an army of men in permanent transcendent states, and that's why they were unstoppable. But here's the question: how does this apply to you? You're not building an empire. You're not conquering nations, but you are fighting battles against procrastination, against self-doubt, against the comfort that keeps you mediocre. And the same spiritual laws that made Genghis Khan unstoppable can make you unstoppable. Let me show you how. First, the mandate of heaven, divine purpose. You need to connect what you're doing to something greater than yourself. Most people fail because they're chasing money or status or comfort. These motivations are weak. They collapse under pressure. They disappear when things get hard. But if you believe you're fulfilling a purpose given to you by something greater, whether you call it God, the universe, or destiny, everything changes. Here's how to apply this today. Take whatever goal you're working toward and reframe it spiritually. You're not just building a business, you're creating something that serves others. You're not just getting fit. You're honoring the body you were given. You're not just learning a skill, you're fulfilling your potential. When your goals connect to transcendent purpose, your brain stops negotiating. It stops asking, is this worth it? Because the answer is always yes. Second, the law of unity, spiritual brotherhood. You can't do this alone. Genghis Khan knew that. He built an empire with men who shared his vision. You need to surround yourself with people who share your spiritual conviction. Not friends who party with you, not colleagues who gossip with you. People who believe what you believe and push you toward it. Find your tribe or build one, because isolation kills purpose. Community strengthens it. Third, discipline beyond fear. This is the hardest one because it requires you to accept something uncomfortable. You need to mentally rehearse your death, not morbidly, spiritually. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Your time here is limited. Your body is temporary. So why are you living like you have forever? Start every morning with this thought: I'm already dead. Everything from this point forward is borrowed time. How will I use it? When you internalize this, fear loses its grip. That embarrassing failure you're afraid of? You're already dead, so what does it matter? That rejection you're avoiding? You're already dead, so why not try? This isn't nihilism. This is freedom. When you accept your mortality, you stop wasting your life on comfort and safety. You start living with purpose. Genghis Khan's warriors recited, I am already dead before battle. You should recite it before approaching that difficult conversation, starting that project, taking that risk. Here's the brutal truth. Most people will live their entire lives and die without ever feeling fully alive. They'll play it safe. They'll avoid discomfort. They'll follow the path of least resistance, and they'll reach the end with regret, wishing they'd taken the risk, wishing they'd pursued the purpose, wishing they'd lived like they were already dead instead of pretending they'd live forever. Genghis Khan came from nothing, abandoned in the wilderness, no resources, no army, no advantages. But he had three things: divine purpose, spiritual unity, discipline beyond fear. And with those three things, he conquered the world. You have access to the same three spiritual laws. The question is, will you use them? Let me leave you with one final story. Before Genghis Khan died, his sons asked him how to maintain the empire. He took an arrow and broke it easily. Then he took 5 arrows bundled together and couldn't break them. Alone, you are weak, he said. Together with shared purpose, you are unbreakable. That's the power of spiritual conviction. It transforms individuals into something greater. It turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. You don't need a cavalry. You don't need an army. You just need 3 things. 1. Connect your goals to divine purpose. Whatever you're building, make it about something greater than yourself. 2. Find your spiritual tribe. Surround yourself with people who share your conviction and push you forward. 3. Accept your mortality. Rehearse your death every morning. Live like you're already dead, because you are. Your time is borrowed. Use it with purpose. Genghis Khan conquered the world with these 3 spiritual laws. What will you conquer with them? Comment below. What's your divine purpose? What's the one goal you're connecting to something greater? I'll reply to every single one. And if this video changed how you see success, subscribe. More ancient wisdom for modern conquest is coming. Remember, Genghis Khan wasn't special. He was just ordinary man who believed he was chosen for something extraordinary. And that belief made him unstoppable. What do you believe you're chosen for? Answer that question honestly, and nothing can stop you. See you in the next video.